Okay. So, finding where the fish people know called Koatoa seem to have a little hideaway. You start going down this particular cavern, staying particularly careful as and watchful, as you said. This is very interesting thing about this party being an Underdark party is I can describe that the sides of this waterway are filled with plant life of mushrooms that sort of mimic trees and things, but you've never seen trees. This is all that you've ever known. This isn't strange to you. It's strange that there's this watery, horrible underground cavern underground under some of the city, and but even that is not all that weird. The bright, glowing elements of some of these mushrooms is not that strange. This area is seemingly deliberately another sign of life. Is that there's actually less glowing mushrooms here. It seems deliberately something you notice, Voss, as you're marching ahead of everyone else. That some of the mushrooms that would glow have been cut down, which would make sense to a group of thieves trying to kind of hide their presence that live in the area. There's sort of this watery passageway down the middle, and you're walking on what could best be described as a fungal grass. Kind of like, slime molds that do come to stiff peaks in some areas, and squelches underneath the foot. And in some places there's these sort of rickety fungal wood bridge pathways above. But what's all of you notice is the vermin in the area. And you notice it in the bog slums too. Narashiro is a city. There's vermin. But this many rats is just a sign of the grossness of this area. You see rats scurrying from fungal growth to fungal growth, almost keeping away from your feet as you're marching through the area in the dark. And as you're marching, some of the larger ones are gonna get a little bit aggressive. One memento, please.
Yep.
Baby.
Oh no.
This is where we find out Will's new character is allergic to rats. Just kidding.
And here we go.
This is a really funny thing. For some reason, Roll20 made a couple of your tokens bigger than they're meant to be, so I dropped you in and you're just
oh yeah, they are. You're right.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know why.
Well, I mean, isn't Yuna the shortest one of us, so this works.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
we're
now
all
I
pretty
just
large
have to keep
boys.
adjusting it. Who have I forgotten? Yes, Rakath, the gross one. Forgetting him for a reason.
No one wants to remember Raka.
Nobody wants Rakath.
Nobody knows the trouble I feel. Nobody knows the sorrow.
All right.
Preemptively zoom out.
Can you roll?
Oh my
some
god.
Initiative. Yeah, you want a fun time? Let's give a fun time. Look at that boy. What an unpleasant lad.
Okay.
Great time
So?
drawing that. Great time.
I need a torch is what I need.
You don't have
Or
the
I
initiative
need to-
tracker up yet?
I need to light a torch.
That's what I'm
rather.
waiting for, is for you to put the tracker up so that I
Oh,
can
you can still
Roll
roll
initiative.
initiative while it's not there.
If it's that dark, I probably would have already had a torch out. Is that okay?
That's actually very valid. I could totally whip that out.
Because I can't see a damn thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have dark vision.
No,
Literally, I can see Will's character, and that's it. Oh, there we
but
go.
in the city, everything is lit. And
Yeah.
even outside the city, there's a lot of light. You're just actually underground right now.
This is
rats
actually perfect.
need
Okay.
an initiative. Yeah, well, torches burn very bright. What you might want to invest in is like one of those lanterns where you can kind of hood it and make a little bit of light in the future. This is not even going to be an encounter because they rolled such a low initiative roll. But let's go, Torum.
Okay.
Walking, torch in one hand, crossbow in the other.
Yeah, he would immediately throw the torch down, sort of just actually probably in between here if you can, sort of between those two.
I was literally just gonna go, hey, you better not drop that torch because I just gave you the light
I can't shoot
manually.
I can't shoot the crossbow with the torch.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
I'm mad about it.
Can't shoot the
It's a thing.
torch. We need to just build a holder onto your head that will hold the torch top of a torch.
Honestly, having like just some sort of like
Get a little hard
thing
hat
just slotted
lantern
into it
I'm
makes sense.
installed into
I'm not
Torrent's head.
fucking joking. We're giving you a hard hat. We're giving you a miner's helmet.
There you go. There's your fucking torch.
Okay, well, I am immediately going to see this one here approaching, and
Giant
I'm going to...
rats. Gross giant rats. Around 3 feet long, not counting the tail. Big and bitey, and they're fucking giant rats. Yeah, that's going to be a hit on the giant rat. The giant rat is not wearing plate mail.
Surprising.
Not
that's
not
fine.
this one.
Oh well, I'll take that damage.
I'm just waiting for the Rat King to show up.
Right.
Slamming out.
I'm
Already
probably
done
gonna
that
move
once.
here.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'd move here.
Okie dokes. Awesome. Rakath, you're up next. What would have surprised a lot of you, aside from Yuri, is that Torum moved very quickly there. Torum is this big, heavy thing. It was very quick. Very sharp motions. Actually, very fluid motions, just very fast. Almost before you react, you know.
Oh yeah, there's the second that like one of the big ones sort of moved towards the group, it would have been torch down, the bolt flies past before you know what's happening, and he's moved off to the side.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Rakath.
And Rakath is going to allow them to kind of take up that middling space there, and instead he's going to take a shot at he's going to take a shot at this rat over here.
Okay.
With
Getting
his
to
short-
scurry across the bridges.
Yeah.
Oh,
That is a hit. It's a giant rat.
oh,
It's a giant rat and you're level 1.
consistency.
At level 1, a 12 is good.
Yes.
Yeah, again, like just like Voss, you know, you hit the rat with the crossbow bolt, but they're big creatures that can take more than one crossbow bolt to the side. And you're level 1, so it's Voss. I'm like waiting for like shenanigans, and like, wait, you ain't got shenanigans yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I am going to attack with my greatsword. I mean, no dachi.
Are you gonna move up?
I'm gonna stay where I'm at. That's a miss, I presume.
Can't
You
attack
can't
at it.
attack
can't
from
attack
here.
while
It's a
staying where you are.
diagonal.
Oh, right.
No diagonal.
The rules of the kingdom. You miss anyway. It doesn't fucking matter. But
Yeah, okay.
it's one of you do the Dark Souls. You're trying to attack with a really big weapon in a very small space.
Yeah. Exactly.
Against a big but still small thing.
Yeah.
Just bigger than normal
Wait,
ones.
yeah, I'm just gonna stay right there. Yeah, I'm good. Level 1.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah, exactly.
shoot that one with a chill touch.
Awesome. That's a miss.
Ooh.
Ooh,
I
baby.
missed.
Rat times.
These dice are cruel. They're rolling over all these high numbers and then just settling on the low ones.
Yep, it's true, they are.
All right, rat time. The rat before you, Voss, is going to actually attack you. Sorry, my brain was having a bit of a moment. What's your AC, Mr. Voss?
He wants to hit a 16.
He hits. What a good boy.
Ooh.
This is when I never have a D4. Ever. It never exists. Just never have them, apparently. Yeah.
They're not a real thing. They don't
Nah.
exist. They are a fictitious dice.
So that's going to be 3 piercing damage as the rat manages to bite and clamp onto you. The other rat with a crossbow bolt kind of hanging out of the side of its body goes underneath your nameplate so you can't see it anymore. And is going to attack at you as well, Voss, because you're blocking the way. But this time, you know, you kind of managed to deftly dodge. And there's another one. Scampering out from the dark. Alright, Torum. The rats are just surrounding Voss, who does have the... he's blocking the way, but they're just surrounding him.
First things first, I'm going to shoot that one right here in front of me.
Mm-hmm. It's a hit.
Yeah.
Luckily you're fighting
that +7 though.
rats.
Once
And
again, consistency.
And that's enough to, as it's biting and kind of grabbing onto the Voss's armor, you can just get a good shot and with a sort of rolls off.
Okay, then I'm going to move up here. Fill that gap ready.
Mm-hmm. Rakath.
Question for you. If I were to pick up that torch and throw it, is that considered my action?
Yes, because technically torches are weapons, so you could make a ranged attack with a torch.
Sure, why not? I want to try and attack this rat with that torch then.
Okie dokes. It would be your improvised weapon attack, strength, or dex.
Which we're gonna do dex. Which would just be a
Oh.
straight dexterity check, correct?
Yes. I don't remember if you get proficiency bonus for...
I don't believe so. You-
Unless you have a feat.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's a... I remember looking at that. Oh my god.
Hey! You
that torch
huck
going
the
right
torch. It baps the rat in the face and does 1 fire damage.
The squeal there.
Yeah! There is a loud squeak because, it kind of knocks the rat over as it's running. It's great.
We figure we need to see what's going on, don't we? So, thought that might help.
Indeed.
Boss. Yeah. Well, like reloaded in the crossbow.
And that's actually something to note. How he's reloading is he's legit, like, he's putting his wrist on top of the crossbow and pushing back, and then loads from his wrist.
That's a hit.
Perfect.
That's that
Oh
could
my
that could
God.
kill many rats. Yeah.
Cool. I just have the. This is like, yeah, I guess it's a great sword, but a great sword sized katana.
Yeah.
So no dodge.
Huh.
I'm literally just like sweeping up quickly and just.
Yeah. Does
There are two pieces
cleave
of rat
the rat. Yeah, in twain.
I don't think I'm gonna move. I'm gonna act. Yeah. No. Yes. I'm gonna stay where I am.
What a roller coaster. Aaron. That's a hit. And can you describe what happens?
Sure. I extend my hand out, and you see this ghostly visage. I can't talk.
It's a hard
of
word.
Hand. It is a
I
hard
can't
word.
do that one.
Kind of just like reach up from the ground below the rat and crush it.
I'm a big fan of range spells that aren't pew-pews. So I rate this message. The rat does not die. It's kind of squirming in the ghostly hand. Like, it is also trying to keep away from the fire as well. And I can speak from experience that it's moving. It's getting all sorts of places. When they want to squirm and wiggle, they're gonna go.
This rat got hot and now cold.
And now does kind of like squirm out. And we'll give another nibble at Voss, which is a hit for
Damn.
another 3 damage.
And down.
Okay.
Torum.
I'm just gonna go for a shot in that one that's giving him a nibble. Oh, that's more like it.
That is a kill, and you see no more large
Just
rats.
like straight through the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's that. Yeah. You do hear
Oh, sorry, go on.
a little bit of clattering from deeper in the cave.
Rat wearing plate mail.
Rat paladin.
Torm would very
Paladins of
unceremoniously go and rip the crossbow bolts out of the rats.
Yeah.
Check if they're still visible, and then click the ones that are back into his wrists.
How do you ceremoniously take the bolts from a dead rat?
Well, as in, he would literally pick up the rat and just crush.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna do. Voss does that thing where you like flick the blood off your sword, and then just like very much he's.
can I get all my bolts back? Or
Yeah, absolutely. These are rats.
Cool. Yep, just making sure. Shall we continue?
And I'll kind of like extend a hand for Torum to like resume being in front of me.
And I will re-pick up the torch and carry that as we go.
Okay. Kind of around this corner is a area of so around the corner, following the water's passage even more, it kind of makes a bit of a pool and then sort of tapers out and trickles out. But beyond there, you start to see signs of life. What looks like a little bit of a village where these things would stay. Village is a very strong word. A couple of ramshackle structures that provide some sort of shelter from the trickling wetness of the cavern. And you do see Toa there. What you also see, well, you hear. The question is, do you sort of go even further into that with stealth or just march in, really, right now, before I get ahead of myself?
I'm gonna be stealthing. I don't know about these guys.
I
don't know that Torum is going to.
No. If it looks like we're gonna be stealthy, he actually would put the torch out and sort of be close enough behind someone he can see.
I mean, I can try my best, but
They have a campfire, so there is some light.
all right.
All right, stealth rolls then.
Oh, fuck! A 4. Oh,
That was
again.
Roller of emotions on that.
Torum can move quietly. He just usually doesn't bother with quietening the sounds of his movements unless he has to.
Yeah.
I'm just a dexterous boy.
You start moving.
Oil. Cute.
Yeah. He's a
work on
rusty
that.
boy. You start getting closer to this, and that's where you see, the ramshackle buildings, and you see the Koatoa. So those of you who haven't seen them before, I heartily recommend their picture in the book. It's hilarious.
I googled it. It looks
They
hilarious.
are a.
He just looks so ready.
He's like, yeah, fucking hyped. They are fishmen in that they are tiny, around 4 or 5 foot men with just a hunch and a fish-like head. Usually a kind of purpley, darkish sort of color to them, but they have very human-like hands and other features, wearing very simple clothes, but even glancing at them, it seems like a lot of the stuff they're wearing is stolen from someone else. Some of it is a little too nice for them, but nothing in the way of armor, really. There's a bunch of spears that are kind of like jammed in the ground for them to use, but something you immediately notice, only a few seconds before they noticed a lot of you, aside from Yuri, who actually is going to start this in stealth, is a very strange thing sitting on what is almost an altar. In actuality, it's a desk that they've stolen. But the pride of place here makes it almost look like some kind of altar. But it looks like a large green heart. And it's still kind of pulsing. And it's cascading a little bit of this sickly yellowish green light. Uno momento.
Favor?
Yeah. That's the one.
I think we found our objective. Just maybe.
But Yuri's actually in stealth, so I'm going to put you a little further back because you're not. You actually rolled well. Erin, bit playing stealth. What a surprise. We haven't seen that since To Kill a Lich. Ba, 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 ba.
I'm punching too much. Desk. I'm gonna have a bad back by the end of the show.
Yeah, just trying to do that felt uncomfortable.
Right?
I was doing that earlier, DMing.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Can you roll some initiatives?
Oh, there they are.
There they are. Whoa! Roll 20. Hey, calm down. This will just be how it is today, I think.
Rip.
Well,
It's
that's
a
we have.
fish. It's
draw
a
draw.
fish. It's a fish. Is a big old fish. Ba-da. Bow. So when it's clear that stealth isn't working and that they've seen you, literally this one that it was kind of meant to be on guard, leaning on a spear. Very simple, almost sort of tribal make. It might not even be metal on the spear tip. But kind of nodding off. But Kotoa don't have eyelids, so it's kind of hard to tell. But it just kind of startle and point at you, and some of the fins kind of like up on its body with that kind of wet noise. Voss, you're the one to first charge into action.
Do these guys look like they're like getting ready to throw down, like they have weapons?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Either they
Okay.
have a spear, like this guy here is like pulling the spear out of the mud and ground plant life and sort of twisting it. The others are all sort of doing the same. Most of them don't have shields, but some of them do. This one doesn't.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna come up here. I'm going to use my bonus action to second wind because I got fucked up earlier. Great.
Whoa!
You're fine now.
It's like it never even happened. I'm going to draw my sword and attack this fishman.
Ron Fishman.
That's an 11.
Dang old fishman. That's a hit, because this one doesn't have a shield.
Oh, perfect. 12 slashing.
Oh, that's great. This guy actually does take that hit. It's sort of enough to twist their body, and like there's a deep cut up through the middle, revealing like this bright pinkish flesh. What's up?
So, no, I was admiring that is that great weapon fighting like coded in by default. That was real cool.
Rerolls ones and twos, that's what that was.
But it manages to stagger itself and bring itself back into the fight.
Cool.
Take
With
it.
my other hand, I'm just gonna point at this guy who's up here by the thing and just say, "You will return what you have stolen and perhaps leave with your life." And that's my turn.
Yuri, who is in stealth, if you want to use it.
Yeah. I
Sneak
mean,
around.
really, I'm just trying to figure out the range on this stuff. Oh well, I'm sure it's fine. I'm gonna scoop past. Pardon me. And then on that one, I will cast
Which one?
Essence Trap.
Oh my.
Oh,
The one that was
that-
just hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Charisma saving throw. Weirdly
Yes.
enough, weird little fishman, not very charismatic. I would love just a version of these that are just like charisma 18, but absolutely fails. So that's going to be 3d8 necrotic damage.
Yes, it is.
This is going to be hilarious. So this Koatoa, grabs the spear, kind of spins it, and kind of blurbles in what actually is undercommon. It's just kind of like completely different. Gets hit by Voss and kind of like staggers and is like, "Is that the best you could do?" And then, how does its soul get sucked out of his body?
So I'm going to take out just a clear gem of sorts, and my eyes start glowing a much brighter blue than before. And you see the fish person's eyes glow a little bit as well before the life just entirely leaves them, and it is sucked away into this now glowing.
Yeah, absolutely. And his body just kind of like is smoking a little, and then just flops backwards into the mud. Hell yeah. You are no longer in stealth. Torum.
Okay, so gonna take a shot at this. Oh, why is it not pinging? Oh, because I've got ruler. This guy over here.
Mhm.
So just out of the darkness, bolt flies out.
It's a hit.
Okay. Oh, that's okay.
Staggering
And then-
blow.
1, 2, 3. I can't. 4, 5. He just moves up to here and sort of like he's like moves fast enough that he does that sort of slide to stop, and then starts reloading the crossbow.
Awesome. Rise of the Fishmen. Okay. They kind of ready themselves, and this Koatoa will run, two-handing a spear. Bruh.
Perfect.
You know what? He runs with his spear, but as he gets close, kind of picks a net from the side of him, kind of slightly unfurls it, and then tries to throw it onto Mr. Torum. Torum, what's your AC?
17.
You only just get netted. You are restrained. You're like over there reloading, and you see it like run up and stop, and you're like, it's like.
Okay, so what does that do?
You are restrained. Do you have the D&D quick ref thing? That says all the status elements really
yeah,
good.
I can get that up. I'll look at that. Yeah.
The others back here, have time to ready their shields. And much more slowly start moving up. Rakath.
I'm going to take a shot with my short bow at that boy. Oh,
Shield.
yep. It was a bad shot. That's my turn.
Boss.
I'm gonna run up here
Yeah.
and attack this guy. The 13.
It's a hit. That's exactly the amount you needed. Feel free to describe how you fillet this fish.
I mean, yeah, again, it's very much just one quick slash. Then he just slides into 2 pieces.
We can get used to that, I think.
Yeah. I'm just gonna move down here. And that is my turn.
Oh, fancy Tobias killing with boss.
Nah, yeah. Just done. Job done. Yuri.
That one.
Menacing? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hit.
Especially with the humming. Like the humming made it that much better.
Is it incorrect to assume that Yuri is also that cheerful in this moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
That.
it doesn't seem all that bothered by it.
She's
Torum.
boss.
You are
Okay.
in the net. But the
Yes.
guy who was holding the net is dead. That doesn't change much. You can make a use your action to just completely through yourself, or someone else could help you. To be fair.
I'm actually going to attempt. Like Torum had loaded his crossbow, so first things he's going to try and fire that at disadvantage. Fire it at this guy before he then next turn probably tries to get himself out. Wow.
That's a miss. Understandably so, like trying to like pull against the net.
Yep.
Okay.
Dang.
Ish. This Kotor kind of runs up and slides up and sort of jabs one-handed with the spear. Easy to parry. Effortless. No technique at all. That one runs all the way up here. Raka.
I am going to start moving. And stab this boy. And are we still using flanking?
Yeah. It's for the mind. I was like, oh, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But this is all good. That's a hit.
Okie dokie. I do 7 piercing damage to him.
Yeah, he stays up. You know, there's kind of like a as you pierce into it, but it doesn't go down and kind of like wrestles free of your blade.
Oh, see, you made a mistake.
Ugh. Boss. It's only fitting that the Underdark party is unsettling. 22 is a hit.
Oh,
13.
He's still up. He
wow.
takes it. He takes it.
You're a resilient boy.
I will stay where I am.
Because I think that one.
He fails.
The 1-2 punch.
Yep. He's like sees you doing something, like raises the shield, but his soul is just sucked out of his body, and again, just like the body just crumples down onto the ground.
It'll be so good for you to have a friend.
Torum.
Okay, so
that-
Torum is going to
that
take
the
this
one
turn to
by-
free himself. But how he does
That was
is
the
he
one
literally
between
like
you
pull.
that died.
Huh?
I just can't see.
Oh yeah. So Torum takes this turn to free himself. And how he does that, instead of like wrestling with it to take it off, he literally just pulls out his Tanto, which is like the other guy's sword but much shorter. like dagger, but somewhere between dagger and short sword. Pulls it out and just cuts up the net and pulls
Can you
himself out.
give me a strength check, please?
I can actually. So strength check, not saving throw.
Yes.
Go.
Yeah, effortlessly. That's one
Throws
that
to
you
the
can't
side.
loot.
Yep. And then I'm actually gonna. Oh, that guy's dead. Never mind.
Uh-huh.
No, wrong one. 1,
This one's
2,
still alive.
4, 5, 6.
With
With the Tanto still out.
Being a little surprised, is going to spear at Voss, which is a hit. Oh baby!
Oh,
As-
baby.
And by a hit, I mean a crit. No grave clerics in this party.
The best kind of hit.
That's going to be 9 piercing damage as he kind of like takes that moment and just jams forward with a fearsome strike. Rakath, blood in the air, souls out of bodies. What are you doing?
I'm going to shoot at that boy with my short bow.
Oh. Okay.
Now, just out of curiosity, sneak attack.
Yes.
He's in melee with someone, so you should get it.
Thank you. I know it's excessive in this instance, but I just want to roll it. You see.
We never know.
How do you kill him?
As he kind of jabs into Voss, and Voss staggers a little bit with that, just directly over Voss's shoulder, an arrow comes flying through and hits the guy in the eye.
Effective and simple.
Kill flop. And then there's no more fish left to fry. So you're good.
I'm gonna go grab all my arrows.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna rip this spear out of my side.
Gonna put my soul gems into a little glass jar and just look at that.
Oh, that's even worse somehow. How is that worse? That's funny.
Torum would also check their body to see if they have anything else that they've stolen on them that might be useful.
Yes. They're gonna. Are you gonna loot like the whole camp, more or less?
Yeah, he
investigate as well for that.
yeah, he would be looking around. I'll assist you with that then.
Oh,
Investigate with advantage, Joe.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a natural.
You know
Okay,
these
then.
kind of gutter rats. You know that they're gonna hide. They're good goods. You actually find in a little hidden area of their camp a little wooden box, which has not only gold in it, but these kind of ceramic containers containing a very sticky substance once it is applied to something. You find 2 of those, as well as let's roll for it. How many monies?
I'm gonna give the sticky vials to Torum because I have a feeling he might be able to utilize those by putting them onto the bolts that he fires. Potentially.
And you find 9 gold, which is a lot for creatures like this.
Yes. And I'm going to hand the 9 gold to Yuna and say, as this is your task.
I will proceed to divvy it out 4 ways. But I'm going to keep Tasha's aside for now until we are alone. So, because it's kind of weird to give your little robot money.
So 2 gold for myself and 2 gold for
Right, and then I don't know what we do with the last gold. Party fund.
Party fund.
Am I keeping track of the party loot again?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, go for it. Put that 1 gold in there.
Okay.
Very efficient.
We know what we're doing. We've done this whole party fund business before. It's fine.
Yeah, you kind of hang out in the moments where, you know, the only real noise here is a particularly loud, like, couple of frogs in the area that are kind of doing their whole beautiful song. And they're trickling
Torum
water
would-
and stuff.
Yeah, once we've finished investigating, Torum would go over and look. He would be very, very curious about this heart thing. I'll just be looking it over. and
Yes. It's
probably not
cast-
touching it. But very
Yeah.
much.
It's pretty big, like holding 2 hands big. And looks like a heart that's been surgically removed or something. It is beating, but only very occasionally. You know, every minute or so there's this very subtle pulsing, which you more notice in the light it's giving off, which is kind of yellow and green in different areas. And the heart itself probably, you know, kind of similar to a real heart. It would be mostly translucent, but is kind of almost filled with that green, you know? Nothing's coming out of it. But, yeah, it seems to be what they were... you know, set up in this little bit of an altar-y kind of place. There's a couple of candles, stuff like that, some bones.
This heart seemed to resemble any of the anatomical structures of creatures that I might have
You can give
taken
me a medicine
apart
check.
or another. All right.
He's definitely the one that would know.
Nah. It would have to be something quite a bit bigger than any city-dwelling creature. That's definitely something you'd figure out. But something that glow like that? There's a lot of magical creatures in the Underdark, though, to be fair.
I'm gonna go pick it up and put it in a bag. So that it does.
Good idea.
It still glows through the bag, absolutely, but it's less a giant beating heart.
Grab a second bag.
I would like to examine it if I could magically, but I don't figure anything out about it because this is just a foreign weird heart thing.
What you do think about is that you know there's magical value to the souls you have a habit of collecting.
Mhm.
And you definitely wonder what you could do with something like this. Definitely full of some kind of magic.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's all. And then it's very swiftly double bagged.
Takes some of his some of the black cloth off of his extra clothing because he covers himself up with like a lot of layers of clothing just because just in case any movement shows some lumpy skin, because people tend to get grossed out by that. So he pulls out some of the extra cloth, and because it's black, he says,
You may want to wrap the heart in this.
I'll literally just take the bag and put it in that and then tie it up around that as well. Basically just double bagging it like it was a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
I think we should take a moment. Coughs up blood.
let
Are
me
we
take a
able
look at you.
to take a short rest here.
Just while we're sitting, let me take a look at you as well.
Sure.
I'm just going to be looking at him medically, mostly assessing his physical capabilities, actually.
Give me a medicine check for that.
Yeah.
While they're doing that, I'm just gonna look around and see if there's anything we missed
Yeah.
while casting the finding cantrip.
They were actually very good at you're finding very much alerts you to the pitter-patter of tiny hands that would have dug up this dug and buried this little lockbox of goods. So it doesn't find a whole lot more than that. What you do see is actually coins and things that were left on the bodies that you didn't take, which will add together, mostly in coppers and silvers, but there was 4 of them, will add together to 2 gold.
Okay.
Mr. Rakath, you do notice that Voss is different than Drow you've encountered before. Like he briefly said, he's a much more muscularly defined Drow than most. You're not sure if this is just a quirk, as many creatures in the Underdark and Jarviskjir in general, there's quirks, which means things could be slightly different than normal, like Yuri's eyes, and you. It could be something like that, or maybe some sort of illicit substance. Who knows? But you think he's definitely he can definitely walk off this injury, unlike a lot of people would have been able to.
And would I know anything about some of the variations of Drow after my...
Not with that check.
Not with that check, but what about with a history check, perhaps?
Yeah, sure.
Let me try, anyways. With that little bit of information.
Drow bloodlines do go in several different directions. A lot of it, what it ends up changing is the kind of natural magic that some Drow can conjure. Not all Drow can do it. You do hear of an older Drow bloodline that was more focused on strength than speed. All Drow are trained to some degree, unless they have parents even more uncaring than most Drow parents. It would make sense if Voss was from one of those old bloodlines. Naturally a little bit stronger, but also trained to be strong.
So something else you'll notice is like during this whole situation, part of what I'm doing is like taking my armor off to like attend a wound through armor, you know, like
Yeah.
and I guess this would be pretty typical of a lot of the Drow that you've seen, but his body's covered in like cuts and like scars and stuff from training with bladed weapons.
After he's done with them, yeah.
Yeah.
But he actually would comment on that and say,
You're part of the old bloodlines then.
One of them, yeah.
Fascinating.
as he continues to bandage your wound a little bit after he's kind of inspected you.
But I mean, for what it's worth, almost all Drow bloodlines are very old.
You know what I mean.
I'm gonna cast prestidigitation on all those dirty, gross coins.
Yeah! That's
I'm
a
gonna add
great
them to the party
idea.
fund, which I believe is on my person. Even though
Okay.
Josiah's one keeping track of
That
it.
would make
Fractured
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for extra
Torm-
confusion.
Yeah, of course. I have 3 persons on me. One for me, one for my robot, one for the party.
Yeah.
Torm would actually take the bolt that's currently in his crossbow, he would unload it, and then curiously dip it in the sticky stuff in the jar that he was handed, and then put it back on the bolt, do it up, and then he'd start cleaning his armor, especially in like the legs and the feet
yeah,
area.
Are you taking a short rest or a long rest here?
A short rest, unless you guys want to take a long rest, but
Good with short.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
I don't think any of us brought this stuff to camp out for a long rest.
That's also true. Well, go ahead and roll your short rest healing unless you have done it already and I wasn't paying attention. That's all you get. Level 1,
I haven't taken
bitch.
damage.
No, I know. I think he was the only one that actually did.
I was the only one who actually took damage during that fight and the fight before
Either
that.
of those fights, yeah.
But and most importantly, it gives you my second win back too. So
It's kind of the point
Yeah,
there as well.
I will help magically clean Torum, though.
It's like a power washer.
Thank you.
All the grime coming
Give him a
off.
little pat on the head.
Yeah. Okay.
Gives you that little bow, and then goes back to. At that stage, if his stuff's clean, he would just sort of patrol around the camp.
After around an hour of bandaging your wounds and also eating, if any of you have ration packs, because this is, been quite a bit of time. Voss is at least comfortable enough to move again.
In this case, because I'm an idiot mostly, but Rakath would actually pull out a hooded lantern and hand it to I'm sorry, and hand it to Torum because I should have remembered that I had that before. I didn't, but I do.
He'll put out the torch and light the lantern ready.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so you
Adjust it and such.
Yeah, you can adjust the level of light that we're giving off of that to some extent because it's a hood. It's got a hood on it.
It does. All right, you can start clambering out of this horrible place, which is much easier now that you know where you're going, the way out, that sort of thing. It's still quite a travel. I mean, you were in this cave fairly deep, and then start going back through the bog slums where, there's a little more crowds. Clearly some people have asked some questions about a strange group of rich folk in the area. You feel eyes on you as you're traveling through the area. Don't know what you're talking about.
Just keeping it ready.
It's when you're, partly on the way out. You notice, because Torum's, at the back of the group, a group of drow that did follow you. You're mostly away from all the buildings now. It's suspicious that they followed you like this. Bows in hands.
Torum would say, loud enough that the group can hear, but not too loud. Incoming. Group followed us.
I'm just gonna stop immediately and turn around.
I was gonna say we could keep walking and wait for them around a corner.
You lot! Your coin or your life? I'm sure at least one of you will fetch a pretty penny.
Rakath is going to turn around and lower his mask and lift off his hood and look at them and just kind of stare very casually at them.
I was going to say, I'll assist you by immediately like spinning around and pointing the crossbow at them.
Yeah.
Fast
and walking
and very
towards
deliberately.
them and just saying, "Yes, I suppose I would fetch quite a pretty penny, wouldn't I?"
I need more D20s.
It is a DC of 12.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bad, honestly.
They all fail aside from the one that's kind of like leading them. You see the others kind of like just sort of skitter away. One of them like even drops their bow. The one who's there is like, you can't tell if he's so scared he's not moving or not scared, because they're a drow. He's not really showing that much emotion.
I'm walking towards him still, and I am actually drawing my sword now and pointing it towards his throat as I continue to walk.
You can give
towards
me
him.
an intimidate. I'm gonna keep spinning my arms. If you get in my way, then that's no problem.
Oh,
It's
no!
a natural one! God damn it!
This is actually perfect. This drow managed to sort of crouch low, and you think that you maybe have a bit of disadvantage on him, and dashes around you, calling out this sort of semi-religious elvish saying that is, "We shall usurp their place in the world," and that kind of rallies the other thieves. And we're going to take a real quick break. Don't worry, they're still going to be scared of you. Just scared with weapons. Makes me feel better.